Okay, our next example, we're going to have a trig function in there. This is just going to be an indefinite integral, and over here we're going to have a definite integral, so we're going to evaluate from 0 to pi over 3. So really all the work, most of the work is going to be over here. So what would you guess our dv to be? Secant squared x. Good. So we usually like dv is going to be secant squared x dx. So that means u is going to be what? X. Good. Let's calculate du, which is just going to be 1 dx. And when we integrate on this side, what do we get? Tangent x, right? So tangent x plus a constant. All right, we'll have our formula. And let's start with this u times v. So I'm going to say u times v minus the integral of v tan x, and then du is just dx. Okay, let's simplify this. This first term just becomes x tangent x. What is the integral of tangent x? This is one of the ones we just did. Well, natural log of cosine, forgot to put my x in there. Natural log of cosine of x. And then we'll have plus a constant. And that's it. That's really all we can do to... Negative cosine, actually that's negative cosine, this is going to be positive. So that negative times a negative, you get your positive. Careful there. Okay, now all we need to do, since we've already calculated this information, is we want to, I'm going to use that from the previous part A plus natural log of the cosine of x. And we want to evaluate this from 0 to pi thirds. Okay, so pause it, and I'm going to pause while you plug that information in. Okay, so pi over thirds, everywhere there's an x, put pi over thirds here, 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 and then we're going to subtract and substitute 0. 0 times anything is just 0, so I went ahead and just put 0 here. Natural log of the cosine of 0, so let's just simplify. What is the tangent at pi thirds? First, I'm going to bring down that first pi thirds. Tangent of pi thirds in your using your unit circle is going to be the square root of 3. Okay, you can pull a unit circle up and look at that. Plus the natural log of, what is the cosine at pi thirds? It's 1/2. Good. Minus, and then over here on the right side, I'm just going to have 0. And then what is the cosine of 0? 1. The cosine of 0 is 1, so that's the natural log of 1. So this is what we're looking at now, so let's just keep going. So then I would have pi thirds, we're just going to leave this alone, times the square root of 3 right now, plus the natural log of 1/2. Now we can rewrite this using a property. This is division, so how could we rewrite that? As subtraction, ln of 1 minus ln of 2, the natural log of 2, minus, what is the natural log of 1? 0. Good. Okay, so this is just pi thirds, square root of 3, plus, what about the natural log of 1? 0, so I'm just going to have minus natural log of 2, so I'm just going to change that real quick. So minus the natural log of 2. And that's the exact answer. If you got an approximate answer by plugging that in the calculator, it is approximately 1.12. But this is the exact answer. This is approximate answer. Okay, so we're done, but real quick, just to see table form of number 4, just so we have that example there. We said our u was x, and we let our dv be the secant squared x. What's the derivative of x? 1. When we take the antiderivative over here, we had tan x. So the derivative of 1 is 0. Of tan x, we said was what? Cosine x. Okay, and then let's here to here would be x tan x. Let me remind myself of my signs. X tan x. Oh, and yes, and I did that again. Don't forget that negative sign. X tan x, and then when we're here, yeah, because let me do it in red. This is negative, so we get that negative times a negative is just going to be, yeah, plus ln, and we got natural log of the cosine of x. And what else? Plus constant. Right? Be real careful with that negatives. Keeps getting me. Okay, so this one's going to take a lot of room, so go ahead and save your, make sure you start a new page if possible. So here you go. What do you think we're going to let our dv be? Sine of x, sine of 3x dx. So this is going to be your dv. This is going to be u. Go ahead and try to see if you can do your background work and set up the first step. Okay, just check your du and your v here, and then in blue I'm going to have u times v minus the integral of v du. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to rearrange these two, and we're going to be working with this entire thing because we're going to have to do, this is a trig function and algebraic function. We're going to have to do integration by parts again, and we have a polynomial and trig, so I'm just going to rearrange this. Okay, and by rearranging this, pulling this 12x to the front, it makes it really clear to see that this is going to be my u and this is going to be my dv, and I will come do these calculations over here next. Okay, so then we have du, which is this 12 dx, and then over here we'll have sine of 3x, but then we have that 3 to account for, so that's another 1/3. So that would then simplify to negative 1/9. That was a mouthful. All right, now we're going to come back over here, and I'm still just carrying this first term down. 6x squared. Let me make sure I'm real careful. Cosine 3x minus, now in red, let's do the calculation of this. Bracket, so then we have u times v, so u times v minus the integral of v du, which is a 12 dx. It's hard to see that. 12 dx right there. With the bracket. See if I can pick up some more room over here. Let's simplify. I'm just going to carry this first one down for a little while until we're ready to work with it. Alright, so let's see. We are going to calculate this. So everything else I'm just bringing down for the meantime. Hopefully I'll have a little more room because it was all jumbled up. Sine of 3x. Now, if we were to have that 12 right here come out front, that's just going to be a negative 12/9, right? And then sine of 3x. So that's just going to be some of you may go ahead and simplify here, but I'm just going to show every step. So on this next one, let's do some simplifying. So if I try to simplify this term, what's the negative 1/3 and the 6 going to do for us? Give us a negative 2x squared cosine of 3x Okay, now here we'll have this negative 12x and this negative 1/9. What will that simplify to? Negative times a negative, first of all, is going to be a positive, and then that would what, be 4 over 3? Then we would still have an x, and we still have sine of 3x. Okay, now if we move this to the front, that's just going to simplify to what? Positive 4/9, 4/3, actually it's going to be a 4/9, so because in just a minute, which this term simplifies to a 4/3, but then what about that when we integrate the sine of 3x? You're going to have another 1/3, so when we multiply that all together, we would get a 4/9. So basically that's 12/9 times the 1/3. So, okay, so let's talk about this last term because there's a lot of simplifying going on here. First of all, if I have this negative, this negative, it's going to come out to be a positive, right? But we also have the sine of 3x, which is going to be a negative, but we also have this distributed all the way out to this term as well. So with all that accounted for, you'll have 4/9 cosine 3x. Okay, bit of confusion there, so let's just take a minute. First of all, if I just pull that last term, let me see if I can see it right here. First of all, let's just work with that. I pulled this negative 12/9 out front. Negative times a negative is a positive, and I simplified it to 4/3. Then we would have, when we evaluate this, you're going to get the negative 1/3 times what was already there, cosine of 3x, simplifies to negative 4/9 cosine of 3x. Well, that's what this term is, but we remember we have this negative to distribute to it, so that's where the positive 4/9 cosine of 3x. So that's the scratch work on just this term here. And this is simplified enough that we're just going to go ahead and stop. This is our final answer. Okay, here's where we can respect the table. So I started to remind you your U and DV from the previous page, so complete the left side and the right side. Okay, so work your way through here, and the next step I want you to set this up so you multiply these two with a plus, then these two using a negative sign, and then back here with a positive sign, and then simplify it and check your work. Okay, so when we set that up, you will have this first, and then simplify 6 and a negative 1/3 is negative 2x squared cosine 3x. A negative times a negative is a positive. 12/9 simplify to 4/3. Keep the x, sine of 3x. 12 over 27 simplifies to 4/9. Cosine 3x, of course, plus a constant.